Today, I live in a part of the United States that when my great-grandfather was alive belonged to Mexico until we stole it. Yet it's the white people with all the attitude.
You know, it's unfortunate that this hearing started off with a ton of hyperbole and posturing, saying that President Biden and his administration have created the worst border crisis in American history. That isn't about oversight. It's about stoking the fears of immigrants and those seeking asylum. And it's something I take personally as a son of a Cuban refugee. Look, for many folks around the country who might only watch far-right media or just listen to even some of the folks on this committee, I'm curious, Chief Chavez, when President Biden took office, did your agents stop enforcing the border and just allow everybody to come in, thus creating what we hear here is an open border? Did that happen when the president took office?
Sir, thank you for your question. The answer is no, sir.
Okay,
we
thank you.
continue to enforce policy and laws.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Chief Moodlin, when President Biden took office, did the border just open and did y'all stop enforcing your policies?
Also, thank you for your question, sir. I can tell you this is the fifth administration I've worked for, starting with the Clinton administration, and Border Patrol agents do their job every day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The U.S. has a border problem, but it's not what you think. The Republican plan is pretty straightforward. They attack Biden with outright lies.
Together we bear witness to the worst border crisis in the U.S. history.
And then those lies are enabled by these lies.
When Trump came to the border, and I spent a couple of visits with him down the border, the trick was different, Bill and Dana. I mean, he came, spent a lot of time. I remember in McAllen going right up to the river's edge with the president. The president really wanted to learn. Donald Trump really wanted to learn what was going on and fix it.
And then their new lies are again repeated by Republicans.
And we can't find one border agent who agrees with him.
When President Biden took office, did your agents stop enforcing the border and just allow everybody to come in?
Sir, thank you for your question. The answer is no, sir.
Who gin them up into this vicious cycle of racist blather, and it's working. Whether it's Trump's 2024 campaign, or DeSantis, or Pence, or Cruz, or Chris Christie, or even Cheney for that matter, the theme will still be the one that worked for Tiny Fingers in 2016. Immigrants are freeloaders on the American dream, and Democrats are dragging them across the border against their will.
Border Patrol, these are great people. Border Patrol agents, these are people that know more about the border than anybody will ever know, other than, of course, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who endorsed me. Right?
New Sheriff Joe Arpaio now officially charged with federal criminal contempt.
A little history. About 60 years ago, Mexicans were allowed into the U.S. to work in the fields for pennies on the dollar of what American workers demanded, then allowed to go back home. This worked well for everyone. The pennies they earned allowed them to live a better life in Mexico, and farmers here could sell their food to the U.S. and the world. By the way, there were no Americans demanding to toil in the fields of California. Nonetheless, Republicans militarized the border, forcing the immigrants to stay in the U.S. and work hard, pay taxes, give money to Social Security of which they would never see, and commit crimes at a rate lower than U.S. citizens. Today, the current cost of apprehending, detaining, processing, and transporting one individual in deportation proceedings costs about $30,000 per person.
A shrieking mother plunging into the Rio Grande, chased by Mexican authorities, scrambling to stop the surge of migrants. This family from Cuba, like thousands of others, risking everything to cross. For more than 2 years, many migrants have been denied entry because of Title 42, a public health policy enacted during the pandemic by the Trump administration, which expedited deportations back to Mexico, ready to cross, when the White House lifts the Title 42 restriction on May 23rd.
Now, Ronald Reagan, the ill-suited, anti-government religious homophobe, was at least wise enough to call for an amnesty for these hard-working, lawful, undocumented immigrants, but he was shouted down.
Dairo, Hani, and Ashley, that family from Cuba, made it to the U.S. I spoke with them before they were taken into custody.
Do you have hope now that you're here?
Yes, of course, the father said.
You know, somebody has to tell me, why is it whenever we bust undocumented workers, it's always at workplaces, working? You don't see ICE busting Mexicans playing video games at Dave & Buster's. That's because they're here to work. The New York Times reports there's a 30% greater likelihood that an immigrant will start a new business than an existing American. Oh yeah, they're stealing American jobs. Ask your 20-year-old if he'll go pluck dead fowl at a Mississippi chicken farm. Not likely. If you want to find people ripping off the food stamp program at the deli market, it ain't Juan, it's John.
Illegal immigrants with criminal records are tonight roaming free to threaten peaceful citizens.
Donald, I think you're being kind of tough on Melania. Oh yeah, an estimated 40 to 50% of illegal immigrants residing in the U.S. did not illegally cross the border. Instead, they obtained legal visas as employees, students, or tourists, and they did not return home when their visa expired. That's because people like it here. So Republicans, if you're going to be consistent, admit that people coming into this country are here to work. And we need them here. Economists will tell you we need workers, and most of those workers are coming from Mexico and Central America.
We ask them what their plan will be.
Yeah, sure, we need secure borders, and there is a path that necessitates guards and technology. But what we don't need is a Republican $30 billion penis substitute.
Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
Fat Donnie and the Russians divided the country, not on immigration, but on race. Trump made the GOP comfortable proposing legislation that has divided our nation based on skin color, religion, other than Christianity,
Jews will not replace us,
and the haves and the have-nots, of which the haves are getting richer and the 95% find themselves moving to Texas until a bridge collapses or their power grid fails because no one pays state taxes. Trump enabled the Jim Jordans and Miss Waffle House to spew their hateful venom and see their poll numbers rise. But with a little education about our past, which was pretty bad, and our future, which is anything but certain, we can turn this around. As I speak to you, I stand 25 miles from the Mexican border. My dentist is in Tijuana, and most of his customers come from the U.S. We can afford dentists here, but I truly like him. His workers, the people I meet, sure, I'm careful at night because I could get mugged or killed. Oh wait, that's when I'm in L.A.
Hey, get over here, you in the white shirt! So why are you acting like a bloody fool?
Don't believe the lies coming from the Republican Party. They want your votes. They're also ignorant bigots who believe Jesus spoke English and looked like Kid Rock.
Put your hand on that television set.
It breaks down to this: words matter, people change, and so does the language. But still, there's some resistance. Republicans are more dangerous than the cartel because at least the cartel is honest when they come to hurt you. Ken Cuccinelli, the Trump administration's head of Citizenship and Immigration Services, looked at the Statue of Liberty and, like Trump, decided to change the very fabric of this great nation into yet another hateful diatribe.
Certainly are. Give me your tired and your poor who can stand on their own 2 feet and who will not become a public charge.
For the record, the Statue of Liberty was given to us by France, but the model for the sculpting was actually an Arab woman.
Calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims.
We are and have always been a nation of immigrants. I hope that this country moves forward, that the new majority espouses and acts upon the Judeo-Christian ideals to which we merely paid lip service. And they probably will, but I wouldn't blame them if they don't. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe and follow us on YouTube at Really American.